Hello. So, welcome to Holistic Haven, the place where we build a better life and legacy without overwhelm, without anxiety, without unnecessary stress. Hello, somebody. So, today we are talking about how are you dividing the pie. So, recently I made a video about boss money moves, talking about the 7 areas of your life where you can boss up to build a better life. And what I realized is that we have to go back to the basics. We have to go back to the basics because there is so much convenience when it comes to swiping credit cards, online statements, where we're not really seeing the truth of what's going on. So when we don't see the truth, that leaves us to be on, when we're not analyzing the truth, when we don't know the truth, that leaves us on a hamster wheel of trying to get ahead, but we're just getting by. We're trying to get ahead, but we're really just getting by. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and hello. Make sure you drop where you're from, give me some insight as to how your day is going. So this is going to be a brief video. I wanted to share because I had some clients that were talking about big dreams, talking about big goals, about investing and planning for the future and wanting to retire and do all these wonderful things for their kids, but they don't know what's going on today. And if we don't know what's going on in our current picture, how can we build? How can we build? So, like my sweatshirt says, think holistically. We want to make all our moves make sense, and that's mentally, physically, financially, spiritually. And hi, William from Los Angeles. And photography for lingerie says, good morning, beautiful, love the blue. Thank you. This is my favorite color, and this is my superpower color. And every time I want to, embody the bold joy, I guess you would say, I would wear the royal blue. So today we are talking about how do we divide the pie. So when it comes to our finances, of course, we're talking about basic money moves because we could talk about boss money moves, we could talk about smart money moves, but if we don't know the basics, then we're just getting by. So I wanted to give a demonstration, and I think this is going to be backwards. I think I need to turn my camera around. 1 second. Let's see how we're going to make this happen. Or should I just hold it? Hold on. I don't want y'all to see everything in my house. All right. Let's see. Because I don't want it to be backwards when you're looking at the information. So this is going to be interesting because now I'm going to have to look on my other phone to see the comments. But it's okay, because most importantly, I want you guys to be able to receive the information. 1 second. All right. Hopefully we can see let me go on my other phone so I can be able to see the messages. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Let's see. Okay, I guess it looks pretty decent. Drop a heart. Let me know if you can see the pie. So how are we going to divide our money pie? So when we talk about simple money moves in order to become the boss of our finances, we're going to have to break down like our income, what's coming in. And if you don't have a job, I hope that you are able to find one, because you have to have something coming in order to get something out of this video. Uh-oh. Let me see something. Okay. I think it looks decent. So, hello, I like saxophones. Hello, I am real. LOL. Photography for Life Lingerie says, not gonna lie, I have a business and I want you to be my wife. That's interesting. Los Angeles is very far away. And your favorite color is blue as well. That's awesome. And then KUA is from Scranton, Pennsylvania, I would assume. All right, so let's get back to this. Let's keep this going so that we can go on with our day. So basically, whatever money you have coming in every single month, you have to figure out what portion of your money is going towards bills. So I'm going to say that with cost of living on the rise, that majority of people, 50% of their money is going towards housing. Do we agree? Do we agree that housing? Photography for Lingerie says, I'm successful but bad on finances. So you got to make your moves make sense, because I remember a time where I was going through financial difficulty and I was like paying all my bills, but I didn't feel like I was saving for the future. I wasn't like, I didn't have an emergency fund or an opportunity fund or a vacation fund. And I was like, I'm not going to get up every single day and go to work to pay everyone else and do a disservice to myself. So I had to sacrifice. I had to sit down with myself with a pen and a paper and write down all the money that was coming in, write down where my money was going. Because honestly, if you're not in a good space emotionally, mentally, sometimes your decisions are not going to be good. And I find that sometimes, like now with so much going on with the YouTube channel, with my business, with my daughters, I don't, there, first of all, I'm not going to the store and just buying stuff all the time that I don't need because I don't have the time. And number two, having like two kids and there's always stuff everywhere. Like literally, I'm like, okay, trying to declutter. So that's another thing that keeps me from mindless spending. But we have to be in control. We have to be in control of our finances. We have to know what's going on. And sometimes it's scary. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth is scary. But the truth will set us free. So back to dividing the pie. If you look at 100% of your income and 50% of that income is going towards housing, and I'm going to say that I am a believer and I believe that we should give back. So 10% of income, let's say if you don't go to church or if you're not spiritual, whatever the case is, maybe you donate or maybe you give to charities, worthy causes, to the less fortunate. So let's say 10% is going to tithes, offering, maybe donations. All right. And then maybe 10% we waste. Because I don't believe also too that like there's certain people like Dave Ramsey that are very scrutinizing and that are very like tight when it comes to financial spending. But I said that if you make a lot, you should live a little, right? So 10%, we're going to blow it. We're going to say this is the blow it fund. All right. And then 10% should go to, does that equal 100? 10, 20, 30, 50. We got more money left over. What we doing? So let's say 50, 60, 70. So it's going to depend how you break up your pie. So maybe 30% goes towards your future fund. That's money that you are saving, investing, and protection. Maybe where you live, things cost a lot of money. So maybe this is 20% and this is 60%. But honestly, if you try to go get a loan for a house, and this is where I started really paying attention to this when I got into finances. If you try to go get a loan for a house, they're not going to approve you for financing if your monthly housing is more than 33%. Why? Because they know that once you purchase a house, that things might go up as far as like maintenance for the house, repairs, and they also know that taxes, insurance, those things are variable and they can change as well. So even though our housing might be about 60% of our income, now it shouldn't be 70 or 80% because you can't just live off of like 20%. That's not enough money. And what can you do? Oftentimes people tell me, well, all my paycheck is accounted for and I have these kids and I have I have to help out my family. But I spoke to a client the other day and I said that you have to have a fund. You have to have like allocations for saving, for investing, and also for giving money away. So if someone calls me and asks me to borrow money, there's a limit. There is a limit. I'm not giving away all my money. Like, I'm not taking care of everybody else to leave myself broke, and neither should you. So when we look at our pie, this is your homework for today, is that you're going to look at how much money you have coming in and how are you breaking down your finances. And if you have not done something like this, I suggest that you download Rocket Money. I suggest that you sit down and you write down all of the money that you have coming in, all of the money that's going out, and then look at how does this break down. Because if you are, maybe your blow it fund is 50%, now you have to say, okay, where can I cut back? Maybe you're not going to the mall every day. Maybe you're not buying Starbucks all the time. Who goes to the mall every day? I don't know. Maybe going to the food court to eat. But anyways, we want to make sure that our money is not just being blowed, that we're being a good steward. Because another thing that I notice is that oftentimes people are saying that, they're having a hard time. And I believe that if you are a good steward over your money, then God will bless you with more. But if you're bad with your money, like, why are he going to give you more money? Why would God give us more money if we're just going to blow what we have anyways? So we got to make it make sense. All right. So I'm going to recap for those who are just tuning in that today we are talking about breaking down the money pie and that our money moves have to make sense. We're going to have a simple strategy to break down our finances, and that we are going to make it make sense. We're going to know that when we get paid every single month, we're going to have a portion of it going to housing, a portion of it going to tithes, offering, donations, a portion of it going to the blow it, like just mindless spending. And then we're also going to have money going to our future fund. So if we look at 100% being the whole pie, housing, cost of living is on the rise, but housing might take up 50% of your income, but then where is everything else being allocated? And if you feel like, you know what, there's an area like housing is too much money. Like, I remember a time where I had to move back in with my mom. Like, I wanted to purchase a home and I knew that rent was expensive. And although, I looked at it as like a setback because I had to move back in with my mom, I ultimately told myself that it was an investment in the future self because I would be able to pay less in rent and achieve my goals. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to save this live so you can watch it again. But go do your homework. Make it make sense. Okay? And then until the next time, ta-ta. And go ahead and comment if you have any questions in regards to something I talked about or a video that you would like to see. Comment and let me know. All right, remember, be grateful for what you have. Go after what you want. And let's build.